Hello, one and all, and let's get into the story because this is fascinating, folks. This is fascinating. The Harris campaign, the campaign that's supposed to save democracy from the game show host, has been caught altering news headlines, according to this report from Axios. It says Harris campaign's Google ads rewrite news headlines. Now, this is not uncommon, unfortunately, in American politics or any really political capture when they capture up the media to rewrite headlines and alter headlines in favor of them. We have seen this before with the Hillary Clinton campaign in 2016. We have seen this before even here in Canada. But it's just amazing that now finally even a place like Axios, this is not even like New York Post or any kind of right wing material. This is straight of the mill Axios, even reporting on this. They can't hide from this. The fact that the Democratic Party, in order to sway democracy in their favor because they're trying to protect it, has to rewrite and alter headlines. And you can see down at the bottom here, this little graphic here, it gives you examples. So, like, they're altering headlines to mention about January 6th, how Kamala Harris has a bright future for the economy, even though she has nothing. You go to her website, there's no policies, there's nothing. There's nothing. She has completely had a empty, vapid void of a campaign. She doesn't even have any policies whatsoever. And the last one that she mentioned, she stole from Trump. She said she wasn't going to, tax on tips. That was Trump's original idea that she stole the next day because she has nothing. And these are from top publications: Independent, AP, USA Today, PBS, CNN, Reuters, NPR. These are top publications that just got taken over by the Democratic Party. And this is the party that's supposed to save democracy. We're trying to save democracy by altering news headlines, by lying to you, by manipulating you. That's important to save your democracy. So the article goes on to say that the Harris campaign has been editing news headlines and descriptions within Google search ads that make it appear as if The Guardian, Reuters, CBS News, and other major publishers are on her side, Axios has found. It's a common practice in the commercial advertising world that doesn't violate Google's policies. You know why? Because Google also does altering of news headlines. Google is also at fault for violating its rules because it's doing evil. Literally the slogan at Google was "Do no evil," but since they are an evil corporation, siding with the military industrial complex, siding with CIA officials, siding with propagandists, it's done nothing but evil. So they're at fault of this. So of course it's not going to violate their policies if they never had them to begin with. But the ads mimic real news results from search closely enough that the news outlets caught off guard. According to Google's Ad Transparency Center, the Trump campaign isn't running these types of ads, but the technique has been used by campaigns before. Gee, shock on it. If only we could have found a way to blame this on Trump, but Trump hasn't been caught on this. Ugh. What could we do to alter this so we can point the finger at that guy? Ah. Why wasn't Trump doing the same thing? Then we could have blamed this all on him. Ah! The ads say that they were all sponsored, but it's not immediately clear that the text that accompanies real news links is written by the campaigns and not by the media publication itself. While we understand why an organization might wish to align itself with the Guardian's trusted brand, we need to ensure that it's being used appropriately and with our permission. We'll be reaching out to Google for more information about this practice, a Guardian spokesperson said. Spokesperson for brands such as CNN, USA Today, and NPR, whose links appeared in Harris for President ads, say they were unaware their brand was being featured in this way. So that this is Google, one of the biggest tech organizations on planet Earth, altering publications, altering legacy media outlets to sway elections. This is the most anti-democratic practice you can think of. And they're doing this on the face of saving democracy away from Trump by altering news headlines that people on the internet, and they go to use Google because Google is one of the biggest search engines known to mankind. They're going there for news. So if they can alter the news, they alter people's opinions. And if they can do it in mass droves, then they pretty much have captured the entire democratic process. This is just, it's just baffling. And people, they're still chanting that we're trying to save democracy, that Trump is going to do the most outright evil, that he's also altering headlines. Well, what do you say to this? What do you say to this? It's okay because it's going in your direction. It's okay to alter headlines. It's okay to lie to you on a general basis. But like they even said, this is very common, sadly. And nothing gets done about it, nothing gets scrutinized, no accountability whatsoever, because they all play for the same players. Google says the ads don't violate its rules, but platforms have in the past wrestled with whether this type of format can spread misinformation. Facebook banned the ability for advertisers to edit text from instant article news links in their ads in 2017, citing its continuing efforts to stop the spread of misinformation and false news. Google argues that because ads on search are predominantly labeled as sponsored, they've easily distinguishable from search results. For years, a Google spokesperson said, "We've provided additional levels of transparency for election ads specifically." Transparency during the elections. You know how Facebook went undercover and lied to you about manipulating election polling results, how they were teaming up with organizations like CrowdStrike and the Hillary Clinton campaign to lie to you. Yeah, that transparency that after how many years they finally got caught. You know, the transparency that they were just so open to tell you that they were purposely lying to you and its users. A source familiar with the Harris campaign's ads team said the campaign buys search ads with news links to give voters searching for information about Vice President Harris more context. The campaign is complied with all of Google's results, although a technical glitch in Google's ad library may appear as some of the ads lack the necessary disclosures Google requires them to run. Like the fact that Google can just take over and do whatever the hell it wants, does whatever it wants to, gain more government contracts. That kind of, disclosure. No. They're never going to admit that. Election advertisers are required to complete an identity verification process, and we predominantly display in-ad disclosures that clearly show people who paid for the ad, the spokesperson said. Since August 3rd, nearly a dozen news companies have been used in these types of search ads for the Harris campaign, Axios found. Examples include The Independent UK, NPR, AP, The Guardian, USA Today, PBS, CNN, CBS News, Time Magazine, and others, including local outlets like North Dakota Radio, W-Day Radio. The ads include links to real articles from news outlets, but the headlines and supporting text have been altered to read as though the articles support the Harris campaign's objectives. For example, an ad that ran alongside an article from The Guardian shows a headline that reads, "VP Harris fights abortion bans. Harris defends reproduction freedom." And then includes supporting text underneath that, the headline, and reads, "VP is a champion for reproductive freedom and will stop Trump's abortion bans. Well, again, where are they getting this information from? They don't even disclose that. Because as far as I'm aware, and I'm no fan of Trump whatsoever, I've made this perfectly clear. I have not heard a single thing on Trump banning abortion. My understanding is he was going to leave that to the states. The states decide whether to ban it or not. So if you're going to get angry at someone, you're not going to get angry at Trump for leaving it to the states. You're going to get angry at specific states that are allowing this to happen. But they will never disclose that. So where the hell is the transparency in something like this? They will never, ever tell you the truth. Never, ever tell you the truth. There's always some sort of motive for these kind of practices. They do this purposely to manipulate you and then lie to you, put a carrot in front of your face, and tell you that we're saving democracy. It's unbelievable, folks. Unbelievable. And I'm sure this happens every single day under our nose that we're not even aware of. An ad featuring a link to an NPR story reads, Harris will lower healthcare costs, with supporting text that says Kamala Harris will lower the cost of high quality, affordable healthcare. Yeah, she was vice president for how long and didn't even mention that to Joe Biden. Joe Biden was going to veto it anyway, so none of this is true. None of this is true. I already know that none of this is true. Just on basic understanding, basic observation, and knowing the history of Kamala Harris and the Democratic Party and their campaign in 2020. I know about this. Ad-driven tech companies have to walk a fine line between transparency and efficiency. One of the reasons such search ads are effective for advertisers is that they can be embedded in line with actual search results in a very similar format. Google believes its sponsored disclosures are enough to keep voters from being misled. But media companies whose brands are being associated with political messaging is in unexpected ways may feel differently. So it just sounds like the battle royale of who's the first to misinform. Is it Google or is it going to be the legacy media? I want to lie first. No, I want to lie first. The mainstream media industry is already fighting assertions of bias. These ads, yeah. So, so there you go, folks. And let me just show that graphic again to just show you examples of how they purposely lie to you, how they're able to just alter a news headline, alter stories willy-nilly, caught off guard, and people are just going to read this without any hesitation and believe that's a true story. They're purposely manipulating the general populace to for their own outrageous agenda. That is not democracy. That is not republic. That is not healthy in any society. But this goes unchecked, just out of the ordinary. This just goes every single day that this happens. And like it says here, there's AP, there's USA Today, there's PBS, there's CNN, there's NPR, there's The Guardian, there's CBS, there's Reuters. And people go to these organizations, they go to these websites thinking they're getting truthful information, which, again, you always have to be skeptical of whatever you're reading. That's the whole purpose. That's why we have a show. That's why I tell people you have to be your own journalist at this point, because whatever you read on the internet, whatever you read anywhere from any publication, you have to take it with a grain of salt, because they can do it to these publications. They can do it to anything. And they will silence out truthful information. They will hide away context to make you misinformed and mislead you into their own cynical, insane agenda for pushing Kamala Harris. and alter news headlines in the fate of saving democracy. That's the most hilarious part about this. This is saving democracy. Because, January 6th was going to kill it. All those people that showed up at the Capitol, these gun nuts that forgot to bring the guns, which apparently they failed at overthrowing the government in that position. That's even Nancy Pelosi's daughter even saying that. And then they walked in like it was a tour guide. They were taking selfies with the cops. How dare they ruin democracy? But this is okay. This apparently is okay. This apparently is allowed to happen because we're doing this on you guys. We're helping you. We're helping you by misleading you. It always baffles my mind every single day to see what new tricks they have up their sleeves, and sometimes they just recycle the old tricks because I wish I had the article with me, but when Hillary Clinton was caught fabricating news stories against Donald Trump by cultivating the Russiagate scandal, that's how we know it's a complete lie, because Hillary Clinton and her campaign finally admitted that she fabricated a story to say that Donald Trump was connected to Russia. She just didn't have any, counterpoints to align that, to have evidence to get to that result. So it was an entire conspiracy made up by the Clinton campaign, by the FBI, by the CIA to frame Trump as some sort of treasonous because he ran in 2016 and a game show host won against an establishment piece of crap politician. And rather than looking at their campaign and figuring out why people gambled with a game show host, I know why, you know why, they will never tell you why. They just want to fabricate a story to make you believe that somehow another country got involved in it, and that's why we have Donald Trump. They will never tell you exactly how we got to Donald Trump. They'll just tell you that Donald Trump is the problem. And these are the blue and on quack jobs who are incapable of critical thinking, incapable of analysis, and they are stuck in their own deluded cult to think that something like this is okay, to think that something like this is helping them, it's saving democracy. And it is just an absolute joke and really just disturbing for the preservation of any democratic society. Like if this could take, like, this is just an outrageous assault on everyday people that are going to Google. It's one of the biggest search engines for news, and they're being purposely lied to by the establishment. It's just an outrageous attack on everyday people like, this is just complete mind control of mass delusion, if you will, in order for their own hideous agenda.